Welcome back to another week. Blog is getting out a little bit late this week, but I will explain why as we get into the blog. And I want to thank all of you who have been faithful readers throughout this past almost 1 year. I started this blog in November of 2017, and I have not missed a week since I started it. I'm committed to doing it every week, and it's Saturday, and here I am. And part of that commitment comes from what I want to create, but then there's a story that story about Jerry Seinfeld, when somebody asked him, Jerry, what does it take to be a great comedian? And he said, don't break the chain. And they said, what are you talking about? And he proceeded to tell this young comedian to get out a calendar and every day write a joke. And when you write a joke, put an X on that day on the calendar that you wrote that joke. And don't break the chain. So every day, write a joke. Well, for me, it's every week, do a blog. So here we go. I finally got around to reading Good to Great by Jim Collins. Great book. And in that book, I came up with this idea of reading it about the Stockdale paradox of, would you rather be an optimist or a proactive realist? And if you haven't heard about the Stockdale paradox, it's based upon the true story of Admiral Jim Stockdale, who was a Vietnam prisoner of war for 8 years. He was the highest ranking officer in his prisoner of war camp, so obviously he was in charge. And he did all kinds of things to make it through 8 years, including he actually would beat himself up with sticks or whatever to disfigure his face so that the Vietnamese wouldn't put him on propaganda videos. And he taught his men how to communicate via tapping on the walls and the ground and whatever. And they survived together. And when he was being interviewed by Jim Collins about, well, who didn't survive was the question that Jim Collins asked. And Admiral Stockdale didn't miss a beat. He said, the optimists. And Jim Collins was like, what do you mean the optimists? He said, the people that are optimistic and think that we're going to get rescued and be out of here by Thanksgiving or by New Year's or by Christmas or some holiday that's coming up. And then the calendar would go by, there would be no rescue, they'd still be a prisoner, and slowly they started to die inside. They lost the faith because they were initially optimistic, but things didn't pan out. And then he said, well, who survived? And it was the realists that survived, the people that were willing to face the brutal reality of what they were in and deal with it day by day, always holding the faith that they were going to get out at some point in time. And I was talking to a very good friend of mine, Arijit Mitra, this morning about this and telling him the story of Admiral Stockdale and about being realistic about what's going on in your life. And he said, yeah, that's great. And you have to be a proactive realist. So he came up with this term, proactive realist. I said, that's great. I'm going to write a blog on that today. So now let's get back to why the blog was late. Well, my life this past week was kind of crazy. And I was getting lost in the doingness of my business and my businesses. And I got a lot going on. And I was into the doingness. And I lost track of my beingness. I lost track of my center. And it took a couple of conversations with a couple of people that are close to me to kind of reset me and say, hey, look, you're too in the doingness. You're not taking time for your beingness. You're not taking time to connect to source and be guided by spirit. And you got your priorities messed up. And they were absolutely right. One of the things that I was sad about this week, and initially I didn't recognize the sadness as sadness, but my son Alex, who's 15 next weekend, is growing up. And he's wanting to spend more time with his friends than with me sometimes. And that makes me a little sad. But, I wasn't helping the situation at all because I was busy in the doingness. So I went to Alex when I finally got real with myself and I understood what was going on. I went to him and I said, Alex, I've been into too much doing this. I want to be with you. I want to spend time with you. But I don't want to spend wasteful time with you. I want to spend high quality time with you. And I asked him, what would you want to do to consider high quality time with Dad? And he said, let's go play golf. And I said, great. How about you take ownership of finding out where we're going to go play golf and let me know when, and we're going to go do that. We're going to spend quality time together. And so he got all excited and started looking up all these golf courses. But the point is, at some point in the week, I finally got real and I faced the reality of what was going on in my life. And I proactively took action on that to make it better. And by Saturday, I'm feeling great. So that's what happened this week. Thought I'd share a little bit, maybe be a little bit vulnerable with you this week and share what was going on. But I want you to take this lesson from my life this week and look at what's going on in your life. Instead of being an optimist maybe about what's going on in your life, be a proactive realist. Look at what's going on. Look at what's in the way of your greatness and take action on it. Take action on the dreams that you have inside of you and go out and make them happen. That's all for this week. And again, I want to thank everyone for being here every week. Please invite people that you know and let's go out, change the world.